What is up, my ninja? Shinobi here, and today we're going to be breaking down and wrapping up Blizzcon 2016 for Diablo more primarily in this video. So hold tight, sit back, relax, and let's go through all the bullet points, all the things they talked about at BlizzCon for Diablo. Some good, some bad, some kind of has people on the fence, but we're going to talk about that in this video and kind of discuss my opinions about some of these things. And I want to hear yours as well in the comment section down below, so remember to leave a comment down below. Now quickly, I'm going to run through and announce pretty much all the stuff that they talked about, and then I'm going to go back through and talk about each one a little bit more in depth. Now it's important to remember that I want to keep this video not too long, so even though I will be giving my thoughts and opinions on these things, if I do leave anything out or anything I didn't talk about, you can also continue the conversation over on my live stream channel, which is in the link in the description below, twitch.tv/ShinobiLive, where I'll be playing some Diablo 3, and we'll be talking with the chat about how they thought about the game and give some more of my opinions and thoughts and all that sort of stuff. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these. Now, these are not in any particular order of greatness or not so much. So I'm just doing it in an order in which they announced this stuff at BlizzCon, and that just ended just a few minutes ago. So if I do leave anything out, like I said, this is still new information to us, and there's still a lot of things Blizzard hasn't told us, so keep that information in mind. So the first thing they talked about is the 20-year anniversary event that'll be happening free in patch 2.4.3. This is going to be adding classic Diablo 1 to Diablo 3. Pretty interesting stuff. We'll talk more about that soon. Then they're also going to be adding the armory to Diablo 3. It's a little bit of a quality of life improvement type thing. We'll get into that soon. They're also adding the Necromancer, hence why we have this picture in the background. This was leaked information that we had a few days before BlizzCon and ended up being very credible, which I called it on my stream, by the way, but that's not the point. This seemed like kind of a leaked thing that Blizzard put out, and that may be the case, that may not be the case, maybe just speculating there, but it seemed like they were trying to build up hype to the game, so we all kind of pretty much figured out Necromancer is going to be coming. It's not that easy to just, I fell on my keyboard and uploaded a whole page that we pre-made and pre-rendered and everything like that up to a website showing that we have a Necromancer coming. And then on top of that, doing that twice because of Sombra's announcement as well for Overwatch. So, yeah, we all kind of saw it coming, and, we'll talk more about it and what I think about it coming soon. Now, next up, we have 2 new character slots which will be added to the game. This is something that I just expect to happen. Same with 2 new stash tabs. Expect that to happen as well with something being added to the game like this. We also have 2 new zones, which is the Shrouded Moors and Temple of Firstborn, Temple of the Firstborn. 2 new zones being added to the game. We'll talk more about that. We also have crafting materials integrated into the UI, which is something that's going to be a little bit interesting. Some people might like this, some people might not really care that much, but me personally, going through as many materials as I do, it's something that I feel like it's a quality of life improvement that will just help kind of brighten your experience while playing the game a little bit. Next up here, we have the Mystic will have the ability to dye your gear for you. So instead of you having to go from, from Act 1 to Act 5 to be like, oh, where's that black dye? I want to use that one or that red one. You don't have to do that anymore. You just go right to the Mystic and she will get that all done for you. So pretty cool. Another quality of life thing added to the game. Next up, we have some hot fixes for greater rifts. In particular, there's always this huge problem with RNG in the greater rifts, and the greater rifts density will be getting an increase to it, and they're looking at ways of improving the greater rifts by kind of changing how some of the tile sets work and making so that you're not having any dull moments when you're in a greater rift where you're constantly killing monsters, and that could end up being very nice. However, with time, we'll find out how that's exactly going to play out. Then we have 6 new legendary item revamps that'll be coming to the game. And then we have, finally, last but certainly not least, is the challenge rifts, which are essentially pre-made greater rifts which I called about a year and a half ago, and I've been stating over and over again, this needs to be in the game. We need to see skill versus skill, and not, oh, let's roll a dice and see how it goes in the greater rifts, or Paragon just wins the game, which we're definitely going to be talking more about this one later on in the video. But that's all the bullet points right there for those of you who just wanted to know. And now let's talk a little bit more in depth about all of this stuff. Now, 20-year anniversary event for Diablo. Diablo's been out for 20 years now. It's a long time. I've been playing since way back in the day, and definitely really cool. Now, this whole event that we're going to be adding to the game is essentially putting Diablo 1 inside of Diablo 3. So how that's going to work is there's going to be a portal in Old Tristram, and you're going to go there, and you're going to click the portal, and you're going to go inside, you're going to go into a dungeon that is 16 levels deep, containing 4 of the classic Diablo bosses that we've gone up against: the Butcher, Skeleton King, Lazarus, and Diablo himself. Now, there's also going to be a lot of the classic Diablo 1 music while in there for the nostalgic purposes, so that's really cool. They're doing this little UI change to it, and they're doing this kind of retro vision change where your character is going to move like it did back in Diablo 1, and your character is going to look like Diablo 1 essentially, and that's the idea behind it. Now, for completing this stuff, you're going to get some transmog stuff, some cosmetic stuff like frames, new portrait frames, getting items and things of that sort, transmog items, and then we're going to be getting a new legendary gem, which will be placed in our helm. It's the first time we've had a legendary gem for the helm. So that's definitely going to be pretty interesting, and pretty much everyone's going to be using that gem for doing their playing their characters and such, because it's the only one that we have really for that. Now this you'll be able to play next week on the PTR, and then the patch should be going live in around they said 2017. There were some talks of like January, February area for all these sorts of things. That's kind of the 20-year anniversary event for that. Now keep in mind, some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, some of it's coming out later than that, and some of it's coming out earlier. So for instance, a Necromancer is going to be playable in the PTR soon, and we're going to be able to play that, so it's going to be interesting, but it's not going to actually come out until much longer from now. So 20-year anniversary is going to be 2.4.3, which is the next patch coming up, but then everything else, most of the other stuff is going to be for a future pack being put to the game, which we'll talk more about that word in a few minutes here. So my overall thoughts about the Diablo 1 thing being put into the game, it's okay. It didn't really get integrated to the game through a storyline element or anything like that. It just kind of, here it is. It's there. There's a portal. Go do it. You know, it's like, I don't know. It would feel better if this was an expansion, and this is something that this is not. This is not an expansion. An expansion, it expands upon the things we already have. So that would mean that our character levels would go up for all classes. We would get, new items for all classes. We would get new storyline elements. That's what an expansion is. That is not what this is. This is just add-ons being added to the game, essentially, like a DLC, which some of the stuff you're going to have to actually pay for, like the new class coming up, and there has been some speculation on how much that's going to be. Some people say it's going to be $50. I really hope that's not the case, because that's way too much for this stuff right here. This is not an expansion price. This is not even close to how much of an expansion stuff we get in expansions. So this definitely needs to not be that expensive. If it is like $50, $60, that's before conversions around the world. I mean, you're looking in like Canada and other places in the world paying $70, $80 for this. That's going to steer some people away from a game that's not really doing so well currently anyways. So you need to try to get as many people in there as possible. So by making it cheaper, I think would be definitely a good thing to do. So yeah. That's definitely one concern that I've seen a lot of people have about it, and I definitely have that as well. I really hope that it's not like that. But I guess we'll see in time how much is it going to cost and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. And my other kind of gripe with the Diablo 1 thing being put into the game is that the 4 bosses that we're getting Butcher, Skeleton King, and Diablo. We already have them in the game. And yes, they're getting rendered all cool and everything like that, like the nostalgic thing behind it. But, you know, we already have that in the game. And I feel like the moving around at the, you know, 8-degree turns and things like that, the very like stiff character controls like we had back in the day that they're trying to replicate, as you can see from some of the footage that I've been putting up. I feel like that might just be more annoying than actually fun in a Diablo 3 element. It's fine for Diablo 1, but Diablo 3 we're used to a certain way of playing. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll definitely be trying it out and all that sort of stuff, but I feel like they could have really integrated the Diablo 20-year anniversary more and definitely had more story-driven elements behind it and added more to this kind of event and made it more of a big thing. And my big fear with the Diablo event is that it's going to be something you do once. It's going to take you 10 minutes and you're done. And that's going to be like, oh, okay, well, that's cool, whatever, let's move on. Replayability is super important in these action RPGs, and hopefully this definitely has more to it than just the 4 bosses and that's it. I would have liked to see 16 new dungeons added to the game, and each dungeon has a boss that we've had over the years. For instance, at the end of one of them would be like Baal, and one of them would be like Diablo at the end of one of them, and there's like 16 different dungeons you can do, and it's an alternative way of farming loot instead of just spamming greater rifts or rifts over and over again. That would have been a cool idea to incorporate and celebrate 20 years anniversary, because you're not just celebrating Diablo 1, you're celebrating Diablo 2 and Lord of Destruction and all that kind of stuff. So that what I think would have been a little bit more impactful, a little bit more fun, and something I would have definitely rather have seen, but we'll see how this plays out. Moving on to the Armory. The Armory, essentially, like I said, is a quality of life thing. So the way that it works is you're going to get, you know how when you like play, say, a multi-shot Demon Hunter, Unhallowed Essence Demon Hunter, and you're doing a speed farm build for that, and then you want to start doing greater rifts, you have to switch all your gear off, all your gems off, everything like that, switch your character, switch it onto your other character, or switch the other gear onto your character, and then go in and start doing your greater rifts with, say, your Legacy of Nightmare Strafe build. So in the past, ways that we've gotten around that is kind of making a second character or a third character. So let's say that your main was a Crusader for the season, you would have like 3 Crusaders or 2 Crusaders. So for me, on hardcore, in season 6, I believe it was, I had 3 monks. I had a support monk, I had a Juliana's monk, and I had a speed farm monk. And so I had like my speed farm, my support, and my greater rift clearing one, my solo progression one. And that was 3 different characters. So what this is going to allow you to do is save different items and gems and all that sort of stuff, and your cube powers to the thing you click on, and then you can just swap it just by doing that. Now I think this is a cool feature and definitely a nice quality of life improvement, but my one fear with it is that in the beginning of the season you're switching out items so regularly and so constantly, and even later in the season you're getting upgrades so regularly that you're going to have to go back and kind of redo it. You're like, oh man, I just got my multi-shot, I got a better Yane's recurve, so now I have to go to my armory thing and take out that other Yane's recurve and put that one in, and literally do that for every single item so I can have it be all like predetermined. It might be kind of a little bit of a hassle, but obviously it's still going to be easier than what we've had to do in the past. So we'll see how it goes, but overall I think it's definitely a cool idea. Now, the Necromancer. The Necromancer is going to be given to us for male and female, which is the first for the Necromancer. It's an old school Diablo character being brought back. They said they did research and studies and all these sorts of things to find out if we could bring back one class, what class would that be? Me personally, I was hoping for an Amazon or something like that, an Amazon or a Druid, but they apparently pulled up their information and there's details saying that Necromancer was the one that everybody wanted. I don't know if I can agree with that, but Necromancer is definitely really cool. So we have Necromancer being added to the game. And like I said, it's going to be female or male you can do for that. And one thing that Blizzard really wants us to know about the Necromancer is that A, it's definitely not a witch doctor, and B, it's really dark. And when I say dark, I mean, it's dark. I mean, just roll the clips.
They're what we would call a pet and ranged magic class. Darkly themed, very darkly themed. They're going to be our darkest class ever, for sure. Why are they so dark? This is like dark, heavy stuff. They're dark, no question. These are dark, gritty themes. We've got skeletons, corpses, reanimation. These are darker, grittier takes on the undead vibe. Very serious, grim, visceral, dark.
So for those of you that didn't catch that there, the Necromancer is dark, and I forgot to mention also that the Necromancer is dark. So yeah, just making fun of them a little bit because he repeated it probably about 9 times in the course of like 20 seconds. Yeah, we get it. It's a darker class, and I think he's really stressing that because there have always been, in the past, there's been a lot of people that would make fun of the fact that Diablo 3 has more lighter tones and more colorful tones than something like the old school Diablo games. So I think he's really trying to hammer that in there. The Necromancer is going to be like our first really dark character. Okay, I get it. I mean, the whole reason why they put Whimsyshire in the game, little Easter egg for those of you that didn't know, is to make fun of people that called the game too light and too colorful. So they put Whimsyshire in there to be like, oh yeah, this is what too light and too colorful looks like. So, in case you guys didn't know that, but that's off topic a little bit. The Necromancer is definitely dark, and he has some abilities to his disposal. The way you use some of these abilities is with the new resources that they have here. So we have Essence resource, and we have Corpse resource, which you know, you build up your essence and then you can use your corpses. I wonder if it's going to be kind of similar to the Demon Hunters play as far as that goes. So some of the skills that the Necromancer has, they have Command Skeletal Skill, which essentially gives you pets, kind of like a Witch Doctor. However, and some of the pets actually look like Witch Doctor pets, kind of like you have the big red guy that looks like a gargantuan. But with that said, I'm making fun of them a little bit because they were trying to really say this is not a Witch Doctor, we swear. But the way that the pets work for the Necromancer is that the you control your pets. You're passive and active. Passively they do things, but then you can click the button to make them do other things to attack the targets you want them to attack. Kind of like something we've wanted to have for Witch Doctor for a long time now. And when that was asked during the Q&A, they pretty much just said, why don't you just play a Necromancer instead then? That's not the answer. This is broken, so go play something else. Okay, Diablo 3 is broken, so I'll go play Path of Exile? Maybe we'll think about that, Blizzard. You know, that's not the correct answer in that situation. I know he was kidding around, but at the same time, this is something we've needed for the Witch Doctor for a long time, and hopefully that's something they're going to do to the Witch Doctor as well. But in the meantime, that is something that kind of separates the two classes, is that you do kind of command your skeletons to run around and kill things, which is really cool, and the gameplay looks really cool for it. So, but I wish that Witch Doctor had a little bit more of that as well to help out with their builds. And then also we have Corpse Explosion is coming back. Corpse Explosion going to be, you know, a really iconic skill that the Necromancer had back in the day, blowing up the corpses and doing a bunch of damage. I have heard that Corpse Explosion, even though it looks cool, I heard that it's very lackluster damage-wise currently, but you know, hopefully that will change in the future as well as some other things. Then we have Bone Spear skill, which is iconic as well, going to be just literally throwing spears that are made out of bone, very simple. And then we have Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead, you bring up a big army, and it looks really cool actually, just the way they kind of attack things and kind of blow things up, and it's definitely cool looking. You know, how good will it be? Well, I guess we'll have to see when we can test this stuff out on the PTR. Then we also have our generator, one of our generators here. There's going to be a lot more skills for the Necromancer, and that's going to be Siphon Blood. And then we have kind of our movement / teleport ability that's given to us, which is called Blood Rush, which actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's 4-second cooldown, and it looks similar to other things we have in the game currently. But, you know, like I said, there's going to be a lot more skills being put into the game. These things are going to be changed and altered a lot, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, as far as my thoughts overall about the Necromancer so far, is that, you know, it's so early to be able to judge it, but I do feel like it's going to be very strong. Now, one thing that Blizzard did post when they said the Necromancer was coming in 2017, they put new hero class. I don't know if anybody else picked this up, but is it a hero class like in World of Warcraft in a sense where, you know, it's stronger than everything else? It's like a hero class, or is it just like there's a new hero class coming. If you get what I mean, maybe it's nothing. I just picked up on something weird there. They didn't really mention it. They didn't say hero class when they were announcing the Necro, so maybe it's nothing, but I just thought I would make mention of it. But overall, Necromancer looks pretty cool. I like that, you know, it's dark, and also it's dark. Anyways, moving on to 2 new character slots. Figured that would happen. It's not really something we should celebrate about. Same with stash tabs, something that should just happen. But those are coming. 2 new zones, Shrouded Moors and Temple of the Firstborn. Not sure if these are going to be story driven or have some kind of, you know, bounties attached to them. They did say there were some lore elements to them. They do look cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't really know if they're going to have some, like I said, some kind of story elements to it. They said there was lore elements, but, you know, is it going to be that little thing that pops up on the top right that everybody clicks X on and never listens to ever? Is it going to be that, or are we actually going to have some stuff to do there? You know, we want to do some stuff. What I'm trying to get across here is we want to do stuff other than just doing rifts over and over again. You know, we have the campaign, which you go through super fast and you never do it ever again. And then other than that, it's like, you know, no one likes doing bounties, and then all we have is rifts and greater rifts. So, you know, we need some other stuff there, and that's why I think that they had a perfect opportunity here to integrate an expansion out of this. They could have made an expansion out of this, just did more stuff, but I feel like they kind of overall kind of took a lazier approach to doing an expansion. If you, not to be too harsh, but just kind of, they could have done a lot more and named it an expansion. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they? Could easily go that direction. I don't know why they didn't. Instead, this is like more of a DLC or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. So, yeah, with that said, we also have crafting materials integrated into the UI. So this is something that's going to be interesting because, you know, you pick up your crafting materials and they always fill up your bags and your stash and things like that. So now what it's going to do is they're going to put that into kind of like a UI type thing so you can see where they're all at. I kind of like it, I kind of don't, because then I have to constantly open up my details in order to see how many I have instead of just blankly looking over at my thing. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully it'll be better. It seems like it will be, considering how many materials we have in the game, so it most likely would end up being better, but you know, you never know. You never know. I just want them to make the game better. I don't want them to add things to the game that have a potential to be bad, right? And that's the kind of idea behind it. So, but yeah, we'll see. Then we have the greater rifts density increase that I mentioned before. They're looking at a few ways of improving the greater rifts and kind of changing some of the tile sets and things of that sort. But hopefully this kind of narrows down the RNG a little bit and gives us better density so that we enjoy these greater rifts more. So hopefully that'll be the case. RNG has been a big problem in the game for a long time. Same with the Paragon system, and they didn't mention anything about the Paragon system throughout the entire BlizzCon event. So I guess they like it. Blizzard likes the Paragon system, so I don't know what game they're playing, but it's out of control, and it needs to be tuned down, and it needs to be fixed. However, with that said, the new challenge rifts that are coming out does not get affected by the Paragon system, so this might be something that someone like me that doesn't like the Paragons in the game is going to want to do a lot, and I'm really looking forward to this because it's going to be an even playing field where there's no Paragons, there's no like special ancient items, there's no special anything extra added on top of that with the legendary gems and everything. Everybody's on the same playing field as far as how these challenge rifts. So that's gonna be really cool. It's like a pre-made greater rift essentially, and you're trying to beat people's time. I really am interested to see how this integrates with the current system of the game, and if it could be really, really, really awesome. So I guess only time will tell. I definitely want to get my hands on this and try this out. Then I also mentioned before that there's going to be some legendary item revamps, 6 of them, so taking 6 items that sucked before and making them something that we might want to use. So it's, you know, I do that stuff. It's not big news. But overall, guys, like I said before, I've already given some of my overall thoughts within the video itself. I do have to say that you know, I was hoping for an expansion. I was hoping for a D4 or something like that, something that's gonna, you know, take the current game that we have, expand upon it, and do cool things to the current game we have, and then add on top of that cool new features, which there are some cool things in here that could have been added on. We could have turned this into an expansion and turned it into a big thing. We didn't get an expansion last year. We got a patch. So is this what Blizzard's been working on for the last, what, 2 years now? Or 1.5 years? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are disappointed about a lot of this stuff. I do think that it's I really don't like saying this because I feel like I've said this so many times. It's a good start. It's a good start to making things better in the game. Now, what Blizzard does with this next, who knows? Do they add this to the game and then they just constantly every year come out with new DLC for us instead of doing an expansion every 2 years? They just give us, we still have Diablo 3, but they just do like, you know, a DLC every year. What do you guys think about that? Would you be okay with that? I don't know if I would be. Maybe. It depends. But I'm looking forward to trying all this stuff out, guys, and talking about it also with you guys on over my live stream channel in the comment section down below as well. So look forward to reading that stuff, guys. And, you know, was this the information you were hoping for? Was this what I mean, I know a lot of people were hoping for D3, a D4 or an expansion. I know I personally was as well. Does this feel like we're just getting essentially a patch that we have to pay for? I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this, to be honest, but I want to hear your thoughts, so I'll be reading that stuff. And thanks once again, guys, for all your support, watching all the videos, subscribing, commenting, liking, and checking out the live stream channel. You know, we've been doing Diablo 3 since Diablo 3 has come out, and we've seen all the ups and downs of the game, and we've always given our points and our thoughts and things like that we'd like to see integrated to the game. They've used some of that stuff and some of the stuff they haven't, but all we can do is just hope and then just see where the future of Diablo really lies. And, you know, we'll see how this turns out. This stuff, it sounds great on paper, but we'll see how it plays out. Anyways, guys, that's it for me in this very long video, which I was hoping to cut down quite a bit. Until next time, my name is Shinobi, and thanks for watching.